Corey Toll, Director of Product Development for NobleTek Insulation and Inflating Technology. First, it's important for you to know that we're using argon gas. Argon is a colorless, odorless, inert member of the noble gas family. It's non-toxic, non-flammable, and 100% eco-friendly. Argon is extremely effective because of the size and structure of the molecule. It provides extremely low thermal conductivity. That means 3 times better insulation than fibers, but without the bulk. Argon is also weightless, compact, and nature-proof, which means nothing's getting through this bad boy. Argon is most commonly used in dual-pane windows and deep-sea scuba diving. We've incorporated that same science to make the most lightweight, waterproof, warm when wet, windproof, custom-fit, buoyant, and variable insulation gear available. So you're probably thinking, thanks for the chemistry lesson, but how do I use this thing? Let me first point out the critical components. First, an inflation port connector where you inflate the vest. Second, a control dial to customize the amount of inflation. The climatizer, third, which connects the gas to the port. And fourth, the argon canister that holds the argon. To inflate, first make sure your control dial is closed all the way by rotating it clockwise a quarter of a turn until you feel a click. You shouldn't need to twist very hard in either direction. The argon comes packaged in these quick shot canisters and or in a big shot tank. To attach your canister to your climatizer valve, simply insert the threads insert the neck into the threads and twist quickly and firmly to break the seal. Twisting quickly will reduce leakage. Once the canister is in place, look for a side red button on the trigger of the climatizer. Make sure this is in the unlock position before inflating your gear. To unlock it, simply push the red button on the side showing the open lock image. Now you're ready to inflate. Find your inflation port. Generally this is found in your left or chest pocket and may be hidden in a pocket within a pocket, so check carefully. Firmly push your port into the climatizer. You'll know you're connected when it stays without you holding it. Now holding your climatizer in one hand and the connector in the other hand, push the trigger slowly to conservatively inflate your gear with a few short bursts of gas. To do so, you push the back of the helmet, the back trigger on the inflator. Be sure to not inflate too quickly as you don't want to overinflate your gear. If you do happen to overinflate your gear, don't worry, there's a pressure relief valve built into the control dial to automatically release any excess gas. You'll actually hear the gas escaping when the pressure relief valve is engaged. When you do hear that pressure relief valve engage, it's best to quickly open and close the valve to more quickly help it achieve equalization. Once the vest is inflated to your desired level, lock and store your climatizer. You can leave the climatizer attached to the inflator port for convenient storage, or you can disconnect it. So how do you know when you've achieved maximum insulation? If your gear feels too stiff, you've put too much gas in. Your gear should look and feel like this. Not too stiff, but pretty full when it is inflated correctly. It should only take a matter of seconds to reach this ideal insulation. If you prefer a tighter fit, you can always put in more. To customize the fit or warmth, simply deflate the vest by turning the control dial counterclockwise to release some argon. Make sure to lock the dial back into place when done. You'll figure out your comfort level pretty quickly. One canister of argon will give you quite a few fills. For example, on a vest, you'll get between 2 and 5 complete inflates depending on the size. It is not necessary to release all the gas every time you adjust your vest. Rather, slight changes will affect the thermal insulation value significantly. You can expect the gas to stay in your gear for a number of days depending on your activity level. You may want to top it off after a couple of days though. Under light use, you only need to give it a few quick squirts of argon after a few weeks or even months. Once the argon canister is depleted, simply recycle it in your local curbside recycle bin. We fully stand behind our NobleTek gear. If for some reason you feel your gear is leaking faster, we invite you to follow these simple tips to help find the source. First, inflate the vest to a medium level of inflation and put the connector into a cup of water. Watch for any bubbles, which indicate leaking. If you do not see bubbles, next submerge the dial valve and look for it leaking. If there are bubbles in either of these places, these problems are easy to fix and you can simply contact 1-888-559-6481 for a more thorough explanation. If your vest was punctured or has experienced other damage, the leak might be detectable by fully inflating and listening or feeling for the source. Simply by inflating it to a high level and running your hand over and listening quietly. In extreme circumstances, you may have to submerge your vest underwater to find the source of the leak. Remember, the key is to look for the bubbles. If for some reason you still cannot find the source, we'll be happy to look at your gear and you can simply give us a call. If the leak is through the fabric, you can apply the patch that was supplied with your gear for a temporary solution. To do this, you need to clean off the fabric using a rag to remove the dirt and the grease that might be on it. Simply peel off the tape and apply it over the area of the hole and push firmly. Once it's on there, you should be able to inflate your gear pretty quickly as it will have set in. For a more permanent solution, you can weld off the leak using a small disc of aluminum and a home iron. To get this small disc, you can contact us at 1-888-559-6481. You'll also want to be aware that the pressure in your gear is affected by changes in altitude and changes in temperature. For example, if you fully inflate in a warm room and then go to a cold environment, the gas will contract, causing your vest to seem to be leaking. Once you return to the warm room, the gas will expand to the original state. In this instance, you'll want to be sure to inflate to your comfort level while in the cold condition. Similar effects take place with large changes in elevation. Sometimes we hear concern about the vest riding up when in the sitting position. This is often caused by overinflating the vest to an unreasonable stiffness and is fixed by simply relieving some of the gas. If the riding up is still an issue, you can always tighten the cinch straps around your waist. Although almost all NobleTek gear is completely safe for machine washing, we suggest you hand wash it to avoid any damage to the hardware. It is important that you do not machine dry or dry clean your vests, as that would cause irreversible damage to the bladder channel. A quick note about traveling with canisters. The TSA allows 4 canisters to be carried on the airline in either checked or carry luggage, because the vest is classified as a life-saving device. We strongly suggest checking your vest with the canisters to avoid any confusion or delays. If the airport authorities give you any trouble, you can always share their own pamphlet with them, which can be printed out at Klymit.com or TSA.gov. If you're using the Big Shot tanks, you'll also want to know how to connect them. The climatizer is already attached to the hose system, and all you need to do is securely twist on the valve to the tank. And next, open the valve by twisting the knob clockwise until you feel the gas fill the line. Once the gas runs out of the tank, you'll want to close off the valve by twisting counterclockwise, and then relieve the pressure in the line by releasing the gas to the climatizer until you hear the gas empty. And then simply twist off the valve. You can get refills of the tank from your dealer, or you can always contact us directly. The Big Shot tanks have 40 times more gas than the small canisters. Last of all, in environments above freezing temperatures, our dry air pump may be of use to extend the use of your argon gas. To connect the dry air pump, you need to be sure that you insert the pin into the hole of the connector and push it all the way on. Then simply pump until you get the level of insulation you desire. If it feels like the pump is not working, you need to push it on harder onto the connector. You may notice the pump is a bit more difficult to compress in colder conditions, so you'll want to warm it up a bit in your hands before you use it. For a more thorough review of technical questions and answers, you can always contact your dealer or call us at 888-559-6481. I hope this product demonstration has been helpful and that you enjoy your NobleTek gear where you can brave the elements no matter what Mother Nature throws at you.